Hey guys, welcome to a new video. We are doing another interview here today, and this one is with my good friend Jeff Robert Blask. I'm going to bring Jeff in now, and we'll kick this off. Jeff,
Hey, Vinnie.
how you doing, my friend?
Cheers. Doing great.
Cheers to that, my friend. How are you? Yeah,
Yes.
good.
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Down here in
Right.
sunny Florida.
Oh, you're making me jealous, man. You make. To be fair, though, we've had good weather here for the first time this year, so
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I saw
it's
that.
good. But so let everybody know who's going to be watching this, who you are, and a little bit about yourself.
Sure, no problem. My name's Jeff. I was born in Philadelphia, grew up in the outskirts in Bucks County. I moved to Florida when I was in my early 20s, and I've been here ever since. And
Couple of years then.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah. Yeah, I'm 51 now. I raised all my kids. Were all born and raised here. Um, and I work in the construction industry down in Florida. When I first moved down here, I started out as like a construction superintendent, building houses.
Wow.
Working for some large builders. Florida's always been in the last 30 years, Florida's just been a hugely developed state, and there's so much opportunity for construction and development. So I got involved in that when I first moved down. And now, yeah. So it's pretty cool. I got the UFO thing's kind of funny. My grandfather, on my mom's side, who is from England, by the way, I must say,
Wow. Nice.
yeah, I'm 51% English here. They've been in the U.S. since the late 1600s. Actually, fought in the revolution. So, remember when we kicked your guys' butts?
Yeah, hey, that's all good. It's all good. It's water under the bridge.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no. But anyway, but my mom's dad got me and my sisters involved in UFOs and the paranormal at a very young age, and I mean like
Wow.
5, 6 years old. He used to subscribe to Fate magazine. Are you familiar with Fate
I may have come
magazine?
across it. It might just be an American thing.
It might be. Back then, there was a little magazine called Fate, and it was all about paranormal and UFOs. And I used to read those all the time. But
Nice.
yeah, so for me, it's kind of been a cultural thing. I've always been open to it, understanding it, and yeah, it's kind of cool.
Cool. I'm getting a tiny little buzzing noise. Can you hear that at all? Have you got like that was it there? Whoa.
That
Can you
that's my
hear it?
fan. That's my fan.
It's not that bad.
Oh, do I
It's
need
all
to
good.
switch me? That's MacBook Pro.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay,
So,
I'm never going Apple again.
so something that you've been into for a long time, then, by the sounds of it, have you
Oh,
had
absolutely.
have you had any personal experiences or sightings?
I did. I actually did. Right before I moved to Florida, you want me to tell you the story?
Please do.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, right before I moved to Florida, again back in my early 20s, I was living in the northeast of Philadelphia, like a mile, or actually like 2 blocks from the Delaware River, 2 blocks
Wow.
in from the Delaware River, and I was working in retail for a large chain of pet stores, big
Okay.
pet supermarkets type of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And there was a series of nights where we were staying late to conduct inventory. And so after the store shut down, we would stay till like midnight and do inventory
Sure.
to make, and one night I got home, it was like 12:30 in the morning, straight sober. Okay. Just want to put that out there. And where I lived, the entrances, I lived in condominium buildings, and there were
Okay.
4 units to each building that were separated, and the
Right.
entrances were on the side. So you'd have to walk down in between both buildings to go into the entrance. But walking down, I took a notice to the sky, and it was just one of those nights that it was just beautiful. It was moonlit. The moon was out. You had that moonlit sky. The stars were clear. And I've always been, into astronomy. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go out back and and check it out and just look up,
Yeah.
I
No
want,
worry. Yeah. Of
yeah.
course. Nice.
And I did. And I walked out to the back and I look up and I see four, I forget if it was 4 or 5, but I see 4 black triangles
What?
And but they were not equilateral. They were elongated. So instead of being equilateral, they were elongated triangles. And there was 4 of them. And the only reason why I saw them is because they were black against the moonlit night sky.
So they had structure. You could see a form.
Oh, perfectly.
Wow.
Perfectly. And they were just moving. They were all in a line, in formation, and they were just moving towards the Delaware River. There was no sound. They were and no lights. And they were flying at the height that maybe you would see like a single engine plane fly on the average, like a Cessna plane, where you would, whatever average height that you would see them fly at, that's about how high they were. And there was no sound. They were moving relatively quickly to where I was trying to watch them and follow them, and I actually had to maybe jog a little bit toward the front of the house.
Wow.
Here's the cool part though, is the one on the end, one of them on the end would periodically go underneath the one next to it, and here, let me do it. Let me do it this way. It would and circle it like this.
Wow.
Relatively quickly, like that, and then come back into formation as they were flying. Yeah, it was
That's
bizarre.
amazing.
Right? And they went out toward the Delaware River and then arced up and just went straight up, and I never saw them again.
Man.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was.
I want to see it.
Right? And now that's back during the time, when the stealth the stealth fighter and the stealth bomber, they were already revealed. They were no longer top secret. And but even if you ever hear them or see them, they still make a sound.
They make a lot of noise. A lot of noise.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting, and that stuck with me for forever. And I wish I would have reported it, though. I never reported the sighting, and I wish I would have, to see if there was anyone else who ever experienced that same sighting.
Have you ever searched anything from around that date in that area? Nothing.
I did briefly, very briefly. And I didn't really find anything.
It's hard to find things when you go back over a decade plus. It is difficult to get corroboration.
Yeah, and this is back in like 1993,
okay.
I think.
Yeah,
so
that would be difficult, but
right.
So there's a reason why we are doing this discussion that brings us right up to date. So
sure.
I'll hand it right across over to you, and then we'll get into it.
All right. I mentioned earlier that I started my career down in Florida in the construction industry, and I worked in the private sector for probably about 20 years or so, as in construction management and project management. And currently I work on the government side, the local government side, in building code administration. So what I do now is I have the privilege of working for Pasco County's Building Construction Services, and I'm the Plans Examiner Supervisor. And my team and I, what we do is we review all the construction plans that come through for permitting prior to permit issuance to ensure they comply with, state, local, and any federal building codes that may apply to us. And I've been doing that now for almost 8 years, and it's been an awesome experience. Pasco County is Central Florida, western side. It's just north of the Tampa Bay area.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. Yeah. And it's one of the fastest growing counties in the United States. We have tons of growth, tons of people moving in, and there's so many great, cool projects, and it's just been an amazing experience. Very proud to work for such a great team. Got a great team of people. Yeah. And so, what's interesting is it was toward the end of March, I guess, or the beginning of April. I was contacted via email by a project engineer who was developing a project for the U.S. Air Force. And he was asking me about, permitting requirements. And initially I was kind of puzzled because in the United States, the federal government is exempt from state and local building codes for the most part, and building permitting. They do their own. They do their own, especially military. If it's owned and operated by them or, and managed by them, they don't have to abide by our processes. They can do whatever they want. Wow. This particular project, however, had a caveat to it because there is an exception to that. the land and is being leased.
Right.
Okay, so the facility, now they're constructing the buildings and the structures, which we'll talk about in a minute, but the land is being leased. So if there's leases involved, it exempts them from the, or they're not qualified for the exemption then, and they have to abide by the building codes. Okay, and the gentleman that I talked to knew that up front, which really helped me out. Actually, made it a lot easier. So, and we had to do some special, special permitting, in specific phases for them. Some of this involved pre-manufactured structures that they were getting constructed, and the company that was going to construct them wanted permits from us first before they were going to be allowed to start.
So there's like a chain a chain that links. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. So we had to talk about it and stuff, and so we did, and then we had about 2 weeks after the initial contact, we had a virtual meeting over WebEx, and where that's when I first got to see what they were building. And what it is, it's a telemetry site, and it's on a parcel of land that's right on our coast, and if you look at, and oh, here you go, you're going to put it up, right? Yeah. Okay. So you can see that parcel of land is owned by Duke Energy. Okay.
Right. Wow. Energy company.
As a matter of fact, you can see the power plant. You see my circle, the red circle is where this site is going, the telemetry site's going, that the U.S. Air Force is leasing. But if you go right below it, there's a parcel below it also that's owned by Duke Energy, where there's an active gas-fired power plant.
Right.
Okay.
Any nuclear there at all? Do you know?
Not here, no. And you know what's funny is there used to be a nuclear power plant in Crystal River, but Duke Energy shut it down and converted it to fossil fuel. There's no nuclear power plants by Duke Energy in Florida, which is interesting. But it was an old power plant with 60 from nuclear technology from the 60s.
Sure.
So they modernized it with fossil fuels. Right. But so that where the telemetry site's going, that's right there on the coast. It's kind of hard to tell that the Gulf of Mexico is that dark green spot that but it's right there. And there you go. That's awesome. That's a perfect view from the state of Florida of where you can see this telemetry site going.
Awesome.
Now, I'm trying to think of the order I want to tell this in a little bit. So I got to see it, and he started showing me some of the buildings. And the first thing he showed me was the telemetry tower. And the telemetry tower, there you go. The tower itself is 70 feet tall, and it's got that large radome on top of it, which is 26 and a half feet tall in and of itself. So that's roughly about, almost 100-foot tall, radar dome that the U.S. Air Force is building. Now, here's something from my perspective, my local grassroots perspective here. Tampa Bay, at the southernmost tip of Tampa Bay, is MacDill Air Force Base. Not a huge Air Force base, but MacDill, during all of the Middle East operations, the United States had, MacDill was the acting central command.
Wow.
Okay. So me thinking, all right, if let me phrase it this way. If I wasn't the UFO enthusiast I was, and if it wasn't the time frame that we're in, I probably wouldn't have really asked too many questions. But when I saw that and where it was going, the light bulb went off.
Of course.
So I asked, and this is the best part, and maybe, I'm not sure the value that other listeners are gonna put towards this, but to me it was pretty big. And it's the conversation that came when I saw this, because I stated to him, I said, wow. I said, that's some pretty hefty equipment. I said, this must be used to detect any possible UAP activity that we've had around the United States coastlines. And almost immediately, and matter-of-factly, he said, you got it. Wow. He said, yeah. And then right afterward, he said, and he goes, if you're interested in that topic, he said, it's also might interest you to know that this facility is being constructed manned, and monitored not by MacDill Air Force Base, but by Eglin Air Force Base. Now, Eglin Air Force Base is a major base up in the panhandle of Florida, right east of Pensacola, 640 square miles of Air Force Base.
Wow.
And so, he confirmed it right there that that's what it was for in my mind. And then he goes, as a matter of fact, we're contracted to build several of these sites along other coastal areas or along, in other areas along the coastlines.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like all of these UAP sightings in the last, decade and a half have been along those coastlines. And they're the ones that we even hear they're happening right up until now, like last week, the week before, that they're still happening. So
exactly.
This is the perfect piece of equipment to pick them up. I mean, that's mind blowing. Yeah.
And there's another the monitoring building. It's a big pre-manufactured building, and it's elevated. It's going to be built on a large, like 15-foot tall platform. I don't think I sent you the picture of the platform.
Okay.
I didn't really have a good picture of the platform because that permit already got issued and the plans were filed. But basically, it's just like a large, rectangular building, and it's elevated. I mean, obviously, it's coastal. It's in a FEMA flood zone, so we have to elevate it above the base flood elevation. Yeah. So it's elevated about 15 feet in the air, and it has an observation platform on top of it, which I found kind of interesting also. Now, so after he told me that it was being monitored by Eglin Air Force Base, I said, well, I'm really surprised that the federal government didn't purchase this property and that this is deemed classified.
Right.
He goes, the assets themselves are not classified. He goes, I can show you this. I can show you, and we got plans for all the electrical schematics and, stuff that they have, all the electrical runs that they have to do and stuff and, whatever. He goes, that's not top secret. He goes, however, the data that they're going to be collecting is classified top secret. So after you guys are done doing all your inspections, he said it's going to be manned 24/7 by heavily armed guards, and the only people allowed in and out will have classified top secret clearance.
Wow, man. It just sets it all off up there, doesn't it? You just...
Bing!
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I know. My light bulbs were going off, and so I was like, wow. So I figured now there's no reason for this guy to make any of this up or to even say you got it, and if you know what I mean, and if that's going to interest you. So to me, I have no skepticism about it whatsoever. In my humble personal opinion, I think it is directly related to detecting possible UAP activity. So then I started thinking, well, it's the Gulf of Mexico, right? It's pretty shallow compared to other oceans where we have deep caverns and stuff. So I haven't dove real deep into UAP activity on the Gulf, but a short search revealed to me that there were some oil rigs about 80 miles south of the Pensacola area.
Right.
Okay. That actually reported some. And because there's oil rigs out in the Gulf of Mexico.
Sure.
And there have been some reports of UFO activity from the folks working out on these oil rigs. So maybe there is something there.
I mean, this is new information. Has the site started being constructed yet?
Not yet. There are some permits that are issued. I think they started doing site work. But there's a bunch of permits that are ready to be issued. I think they're waiting until they have everything, but we're helping them. We're helping them, every step of the way. But
the reason I mention it is because we're jumping on this before the thing's even built. But because of all of those different puzzle pieces that you've mentioned so far, and you put them together, it makes absolute sense. Now, it might just be coincidence, but you don't know in this field. It happens all the time. So this is one of the main reasons why I had to get you on for an interview, is because I wanted to get this out there as a possibility, and then in the future we'll see what comes of it. But it's so intriguing.
And I'm sorry that you had to bump Lou Elizondo to get me in.
Hey man, He wasn't going to give up the goods, you know.
No, but yeah, to me, and again, you know, for everybody listening and watching, for me, it's like a grassroots, you know, a real life grassroots minute piece of this puzzle.
Exactly.
And I think it's very important to share. And the cool thing is I can share it because they're permitting it. And guess what? All of these things are on file for public record. So there's no, you know, it's not, you know, again, it's not a classified top secret facility yet. The data that they collect, it will be. So but I thought that was, yeah, man, I thought that was really, really cool. So, and what's another thing too is, you know, my friends and I, we go boating. I live about a mile from the coast. I have some friends of mine that live right over in a little area here where they got, you know, on the water, you know, and they have boats, and we go out quite often, and we'll head. We're north of that of where that facility is being built, but there's islands, there's barrier islands off the coast there that we usually boat down to and hang out. You know, I think I sent you a video one time. Hey, Vinnie, what's going on? But I can see the power plant from some of the places that we go. I can see the power plant. So when that radar dome gets built, you know, and I have a good friend of mine, Brian. He's really into the topic as well. He's like, oh yeah, when that gets built, we'll go cruise around and take pictures of it. So after it's built, I'll go, you know, take some shots.
Hell
and stuff
yeah, man!
And send it to you.
Exciting! That's so cool, man.
Isn't that neat? I mean, it's.
I mean, there are other possibilities about what it could be used for, and it might even be used for other things as well. But the fact that where it is and that guy's statement to you really says it all. I mean, he might have just said it in jest, knowing that it's real, but saying it in jest, thinking you weren't going to pick up or take it anywhere. And well, he was wrong. He came to me.
No, honestly, I think that. You know, once I started asking other questions, you know, I didn't ask too many questions either, and I wish I would have. I mean, I still probably could, but right now we're just emailing back and forth to get ready for permit issuance. What I am going to do, though, is, you know, again, I don't go out in the field. I stay in the office. Right. Our scope right now is all pre-permit issuance, so we're not part of the inspection team where we do the plan review. You know, but I am going to go out for when they do their final inspections. I'm going to make a point to make sure I go tour it.
Nice. You want to get like a little secret camera or something, little spy cam.
You never know.
Turn your phone on a little bit subtle, like.
That's
it. Oh man, that's crazy.
And I thought it was really neat because there's, and you know, now let me ask you a question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because after this is all going, I've had a lot of time to think about this, and let's you know, putting all skepticism aside, and let's just pretend, for the sake of argument, that it is in fact being constructed strictly for, you know, for UAP detection. Why the hell did it take them so long?
That's a great question. I mean, that is a great question.
Why is it that 2004 we have these things happening with the Nimitz, to 2014 and 2015 off the Vacate, even off of Jacksonville? Which one? It was the Go Fest, I think, was filmed off of Jacksonville, Florida, wasn't it?
I think it was maybe a bit north of there. I cannot recall off the top of my head.
Okay. I thought one of them was, and I know that they had, if it wasn't that particular video, I know they had instances off of Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, it's been right up and down that East Coast, all the way up and down, right from Florida, right up past New York and stuff. So yeah, definitely there's been a lot. But I think to answer your question, why it's taken them so long is probably since the 2017 reveal of ATIP and everything, there's probably been a lot of internal pressure coming from all aspects within the government and within the DOD, where they've said, well, look, now this is public and now it's out there. We need to step it up. And this could be that first phase that we're seeing of them really taking it seriously and trying to capture more data. And it might even back up their case of saying that they still don't know what a lot of this is. I mean, there's a lot of skepticism when people hear that. They're like, well, they know what it is. But I'm starting to think that maybe they don't. Because what's coming from people like Lou Elizondo at the moment a lot is that these really could be some interdimensional, inner space, outer space, or something in between kind of entity or objects, then we really will be struggling to get our heads around it. I mean, the government as well. So this could be just the next step of them trying to grasp some concept of what they're seeing, you know?
Yeah, I know. And it also, you know, and I was thinking the same exact thing, especially with, you know, what we're starting to see, you know, and again, I'm a lifelong UFO enthusiast. Okay. I've been reading this and studying this stuff for forever. And, you know, prior to 2017, I was like, oh, the government knows everything about it. Yeah, they know about it because of Roswell. They have the reverse engineering because Bob Lazar said so. They have the alien bodies. They know. You know what? I'm with you. I don't think they do. As a matter of fact, I think that they have been, what we may find out is that they're more inept possibly than we've ever realized.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know? And the thing is,
you know,
the majority of people that I still get messaging me and stuff on Instagram are still in that camp of, they know what it is. It's reverse engineered and there's evidence out there. And I'm just like, oh man, no, I really don't think it is. But
yeah. No, I'm thinking I'm with you 100% because, and the other thing too, I believe is I also think that they know it's not adversarial. And the reason why I say that is because if it really was adversarial, I'm sorry, I don't have that little faith in our intelligence community. I think we would have known about it. They would have known it was adversarial and they would have been all over it. We would have seen these telemetry sites going up a lot longer if they had the slightest inkling that it was adversarial.
Absolutely. There'd be a lot more going on. There'll be congressional hearings. There'll be panic right throughout the government and the military.
Absolutely.
There'll be many things that we'd see. Yeah.
Right. No, I totally agree. And that's, so again, this little tiny piece of the puzzle for me has really kind of helped me broaden my view of what's really going on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I mean, we'll see. Hopefully we'll see. I mean, but it ticks all the boxes for me. I wouldn't put this out if I didn't put a lot of weight behind it. And it really does just paints a clear picture of a phase for detecting something, you know, like UAP. It's the perfect location. It's the perfect huge piece of equipment. You know, the top secret data they'll get. It really does all add up in my head. So
and then the location being monitored by Eglin, which is up in that panhandle.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know the range. You know, maybe other people who watch this that understand these telemetry centers can add to it a little bit, but I'm not sure the range of that particular radome. And
hey, that'd be great. And that's just probably another good reason to do something like this is maybe we will find other people that see this that can add something to the picture. That'd be great.
And and if they know other locations where these are going in, you know, these types of facilities. Now, it might be totally different if this project if the land was owned by the federal government. I would have never known about it. The fact that they leased it and permitted it that's really what's kind of allowed us to get a hold of it, because they have to now permit it through us, and it's on file for public record.
Sure.
So any other facilities that they're installing elsewhere may not be. They may be owned by federal property, and then the federal government is exempt from local permitting, and that's in the federal statutes.
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is, man. I know it. Right. Whew.
Well,
love it. Can I? So do you want to tell? I mean, I have it. Do you want to plug my little stupid blog and tell
please
people?
No, go ahead. Please be my guest. Please.
Yeah, I did start a little blog. I'm not looking for to get famous or have a bunch of people follow it, but thejolt.net. If you go to thejolt.net,
it'll be in the description. When I'll post a video with everything in the description, so people can find it.
Awesome. It'll be in there. They can read my synopsis of it and see the images.
Yeah,
it'll be there, and other stuff I may post. Who knows? But no, it's awesome. And all right, now can we? I'm sorry, I don't want to take over your.
Hey, you're the guest. It's your time. It's your time.
I got so much stuff I want to ask you. What do you think about China coming out and saying we're taking this to the UN?
I think I look at it in two ways. The first way is, yeah, that's great, and it could really help elevate the subject because it really takes away that adversarial idea that it is China or Russia.
Yeah.
But it could also be a kind of psyop that China put the pressure on the US to start revealing more information. By China, do you see what I'm saying? By China saying we're going to start talking about it in the UN.
I see.
As if they're going to start being the top dog in the world talking about this. America will be like, hang about, we don't want to be second best. We'll start talking about it. You never know.
That's great. That's a great view. I didn't think about it. Almost like they're covertly trying to get the US to spew more info while they can keep hiding their stuff and not do anything.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to take credit. I'm not going to take credit for that. That was my good friend Strafe Wilson. We had a little discussion about it. So I cannot take credit for that. But as soon as he said it to me, I was like, wow,
boom.
Hang on a minute. That does make sense. So
big time. Yeah,
we shall see, man. I don't know.
I think it's cool because you know in the last several weeks we've had, there was an article, but and you know what, and it didn't become mainstream, at least not for me. I didn't see it until it was just recently reposted. But from 2009, when the Russian Navy admitted that they were dealing with UAPs in the Pacific with their submarine. Did you read that story?
I may have come across it. It doesn't jump out at the moment.
They had one of their submarines on patrol in the Pacific, and they had 6 unidentified or USP, US or USOs. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The acronym. They had 6 USOs underwater following them at enormous speeds, and they were trying to outrun them, and they couldn't. So the captain gave orders to surface, and the submarine surfaced. The USOs followed suit, exited the water, and went up into the atmosphere.
Wow.
And that was from the Russian Navy back in 2009. And their speeds were, 230 knots is what they clocked them at, which is almost 400 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Underwater.
Wow.
Whoa. But that's from the Russian Navy. And that article came out in 2009. So, it's happening to Russia. We have confirmation of that.
Yeah.
China's even saying, hey, guess what? We also have our own, UAP task force that we've had for a while. And what about the fact that they admitted that they have a civilian education program? Did you catch that too?
Yes, I did. Yeah. I mean, it just all adds into this picture that it's not adversarial. It really is pointing to something else. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. So
it is. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I was just going to say, it really makes you wonder that, I mean, come June 25th, I still don't think we're going to get anything from this UAPTF report. But even after that, the following 6 months are really going to be a ramping up as far as releases and leaks and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just exciting times, man. Really is.
I'm stoked. I mean, it's like every week there's something new, and it's just like, how do you keep? And you, oh my gosh, I got to give you kudos, brother. You're freaking killing it, man. I don't know how you do it. I've been and for the listener, for everybody that's listening to this, I want everybody to know I've been following you. Oh gosh, I think you had like 1,000 followers maybe when I started following you, and I am so happy to see you gain so many followers because it's so earned, because your posts have always been my go-to. I mean, you thorough, you cut through, you trim the fat, you sift through the BS, you're straight for the facts. You know what I mean? But you put the stuff that you present is so clear, concise, and relevant and solid, and it's all, you do a great job.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's what
thank you.
That's what motivates me, is when I hear really nice feedback on the stuff that I've been doing, and it really does push me to just continue and work harder. And it's paying off. I'm getting, it's not just the followers I'm gaining, it's contacts, it's
absolutely
things happening behind the scenes and that, which really will ramp up in the next few months and that, the
collaborations you're doing, the interviews you have lined up.
Yeah, man, that's the thing.
Yeah,
so,
it's awesome.
I appreciate
that's really
that.
Yeah. What else? What else can we? What else should we touch base on UFO wise before we depart? There's I don't know what else is out there. I know. Hey, you know what else? Real quick, let me get your since we're talking, we talked a little bit about what this is and what they are. And that conversation comes up a lot, and it used to be so easy to say extraterrestrial, right? They're coming from another star system. Boom, they're here. I wrote a little thing about human origins, right? And I just think that personally, I think that whatever they are, I think they've been here for a very, very long time and had a direct effect on humanity's evolution. I do. I'm a firm believer in it. And
I think more things point to that than the other. So I agree.
Yeah, I do. I mean, and Homo sapiens, our species, we've been around on the planet for now, they say 300,000 years, where back, when I was in college, it was 100. But
exactly,
But then there's really only the last 7,000 years that around the globe you see humanity just go right. There's civilized man. I mean, not just in Sumer and Babylonia, but all around Peru.
Sure.
Mesoamerica, China, in Cambodia, India, and it's like, and they all had the same levels of mathematics, astronomy. And it's and even their calendars, which is really bizarre, which really kind of is quite telling to me. Like on the American side, you have some old Mesoamerican calendars where they say that they begin around 3,200 BC. Then you go around to the other side of the globe where you have, like, I think the oldest calendar is the Jewish calendar, and their creation date is like 3,700 BC. I'm sorry, that's really kind of close, isn't it?
That's very close, yeah.
Right.
In the grand scheme,
it's like, right. And they all developed mathematics, astronomy, construction, elevated construction abilities all around the same time globally. And I don't think we've ever really put all that together like that to look at that big picture. You know what I mean? It's kind of
there's been theories, hasn't there? But there's been nothing. It's never been taken past that step, and I think that's really interesting, because it does seem like they were all doing very similar things, but they were so far separated.
Exactly.
That's so many things to weigh up in that conversation, isn't there? Like they're just
So if they're extraterrestrial, that means that they've been here for a long time and living here a long time. So is it viable? Absolutely. But then you got that ultra terrestrial theory, which is that they're actually an indigenous species that just may be more advanced and can see and live within the broader spectrum of energy, right? Because we only see and sense this much.
Of course, and it's so plausible.
And it's so interesting. I could talk about it for days and I really could.
Definitely, man. So, well, listen, Jeff, I think I'm going to call it at that. It's a good, perfect length for the interview. I can't wait for people to see this, man. It's so interesting. So thanks, man.
Glad I could share. And anything else, let's stay in touch, my friend.
Oh, of course we will. We will, of course, man. So listen, guys, thank you for watching this. And in the link in the description will be Jeff's blog. Please go and check it out. He's going to be adding to it in the future. The way the man thinks is incredible. And I can't recommend it enough. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Speak to you soon.
Peace.